All right, Dave. We're back talking our best songs of 2021. Before we jump into the list, just wanted to ask, like, we just did our albums. What was your experience making the albums list versus making the song list this year?
Yeah, I definitely had a harder time making the songs list, partially because I didn't want to repeat any songs from artists represented on the albums list. I tried to diversify 20 different artists as a result, and just felt like there weren't the same caliber of songs that immediately jumped out to me the way songs in 2020 did, like Levitating from Dua, for example. Just like I saw in the moment I heard it, I was like, that is one of the best songs of the year. And sure enough, I had it at two or whatever, on the list. This year, I didn't quite have that same experience. So I had to do a lot more thinking of just making this list, and then trying to make an interesting list too.
Yeah, I had a similar time with my song list where nothing jumped out as like that is the best song of the year. Um, I definitely found myself gravitating a little bit more, especially in the top half of this list, towards songs that had a wide-reaching impact as well as high quality. Even if I don't think maybe these are like the top, top of the top. I think these are the songs that not only were well received by the most people, but also are still really good songs. So, looking forward to talking about that a little bit more as we get to the top. Any other observations on the song list, or do you want to just jump right into your number 10?
Now let's just jump in again. Check out our best of 2021 Spotify playlist, where there's a lot more songs we liked listed. But overall, wouldn't say it was a bad year, just maybe not as immediately ear catching this year. Obviously we have our nose, we have our ears, and so many things, so many artists that it's hard to be displeased overall. But yeah, let's get into it. Number 10 for me is Kacey Musgraves' Breadwinner, relatively recent song from her latest album, Star-Crossed. And I think this is just a really fun country pop, bop. And while Star-Crossed, despite, the themes of divorce being very present, not an album that seemed to hold a candle as well to her album of the year winning uh, last album, and I actually had a song off the last album, High Horse, disco country song, had that on my list 2 years ago. This year, I think the Casey album overall, not as, not as celebrated, not disliked either, but just kind of more lukewarm reception this time. But I think Breadwinner is just a real winner because it has just a really catchy hook. Casey vocally is always pleasant, always fun. She has a really funny video for this song. Yeah, I mean, I've listened to this one quite a lot, even though the rest of the album didn't really stick with me.
Yeah, Golden Hour still my favorite Casey album from 2018, but Star-Crossed I think still what really well crafted. I think even more emotional and moving than some of the stuff on Golden Hour. Breadwinner's a nice choice off that for sure. And I just have a huge crush on Casey Musgraves. Just want to
Mm.
say, if yeah, not now that she's single, just want to put that out in the universe. But why don't we move on to number 10 for me, which is a song that is new, but not really that new. And that's Taylor's version, All Too Well, the 10-minute version, Dave. And here's why. All Too Well was already a Taylor Swift masterpiece. A track that even the most diehard Swifties are who go for like the niche songs are like All Too Well is the crown jewel of the Taylor discography. And she was like, I'm just gonna blow this thing out. I wrote this 10-minute song back in the day and they didn't want me to put it out, so I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm gonna put Jake Gyllenhaal on blast. And it's even better than the original. And it not only did she make one song that's really good, she made it three times as long and it's still really, really good and captivating. And I just am like totally blown away. I listened to this so many times when her redoing of Red came out last month, And yeah, just a tough look for Jake Gyllenhaal. He dated her for like 3 months, and
Yeah.
this song is going to last
So
forever.
unnecessary, man.
But yeah, just amazing. Taylor Swift's an incredible songwriter. So loved this song. Loved it originally. Love it now. Shout out Taylor Swift. All too well 10-minute version. My number 10. What's your number 9, Dave?
Number 9 for me, Look at the Sky by Porter Robinson. Never thought I would have a Porter Robinson song represented here. Wasn't a big fan of his early work.
Hell
Of
yeah.
course, that early work was some time ago. It had been about 7 years since the last Porter Robinson album. And the Porter Robinson we got when he returned at the beginning of 2021, a lot different artist, doing his piano work, doing his own singing, making everything about the album. In the process, a much more fully realized artist than you expect from someone with, house DJ beginnings. And that album Nurture overall, I liked quite a bit. But I thought look at the Sky. I think production wise, really great once the beat kicks in after a few seconds, really catchy, really grabs you. And the vocals from Porter himself, I say they give me vibes to 2009 with Owl City's Fireflies. The way he does
Mm.
his vocal inflections and stuff, I think it's just a really catchy song and one of my favorite EDM tracks in quite some time.
Shout out to Porter Robinson. Was on my honorable mention list. So good for him. Dave, moving on to my number 9. This is a song that you turned me on to, actually. It was on our best of the year playlist, Nowstalgia Best of 2021. Benny the Butcher, Flood the Block.
The
Dude,
Butcher coming.
dude. you told me to put this on the playlist. And usually when you do, if I have time, I'll go and I'll listen to the track if I haven't heard it. We didn't review this project that it's on, but his sample of Svika Pick, I believe it's pronounced.
Mm-hmm.
The piano's blaring on this. The beat comes in. You get a bass guitar just like rising and falling, and Benny just comes in so strong. This song makes me want to run through a brick wall. Immediately put it on my workout playlist. It just is so much fun, so much energy. In a year where, as we get through my list, there's probably not like a ton of like upbeatness to the list at a lot of points. This was just a track that every time I put it on, I just felt juiced up, man. And if you haven't listened to it, it's a true pleasure to listen to. So check it out. Flood the Block by Benny the Butcher.
Yeah, this is off the Pyrex Picasso EP from the end of the summer. Overall, Griselda flooding the zone once again for like the 4th year in a row. And Benny, of course, was a huge part of that. And you'll see a lot of love for other Griselda work this year, like the Mac Hami album, Pray for Haiti. But Benny is just always good. Yeah, he just goes so hard.
What was your number 8?
Yeah, so my number 8 was for Mr. Drizzy Drake. Ooh. 7 a.m. on Bridal Path.
Oh, it's not. I'm too sexy. I'm surprised.
Gotta just say real quick while we're here, Drake submitted himself for Grammy nominations this year, got a few of them, and then took them away and said he didn't want them anymore. Well, you make the decisions about if you want to get nominated or not, my guy. What the fuck's going on here? And he submitted himself for Way Too Sexy, so in the grand scheme of things, it's probably best that it wasn't recognized.
Good decision.
But a song that he should have nominated himself for Best Rap Song would be 7 a.m. on Bridal Path, because as the name suggests, time in a Drake song means Aubrey's going to rap his ass off. And it's really without fail. There's, I think, 5 or 6 of these times tracks at this point. They come out every few years, not every project. Once in a while, you get one. Sometimes they're a Lucy. And they're just always fucking good. And CLB, a bloated, overall disappointing record from Drizzy after so much anticipation. But he did sneak in 7 a.m. on Bridal Path, which is just him in his complete bag and reminding you that, yeah, Drake really is a lyrical, technical rapper when he wants to be. And I think it's up there with a lot of his just, 3-verse rapping ass songs. So it's, again, a little unfortunate that the rest of CLB didn't really stick around for me the way this one did.
Yeah, definitely. Probably definitely his best track of the year, I would say for sure. For the year where it was most disappointing, that was definitely a standout. Moving on to my number 8, "Bouncin'" by Tinashe.
Oh yeah.
Uh, man, I talked on the best albums list about how 333 was just a really strong showing from her, and "Bouncin'" was the clear standout for me. It's a song I've gone back to quite a bit. The production on this with the synth, the do 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 do, just like so good, and she rides on this song so well. It's like sexy and just really like futuristic sounding and so catchy, so much fun. I think it's a song that could make anyone at the club want to twerk. So she posted a picture today on her Twitter of her in the studio with some emojis, a potential present or a present emoji was on it. So I'm hoping we get some
Oh,
more Tinashe soon.
oh yeah.
But I would love to hear her make more stuff that sounds like this.
Yeah, I mean, now we're 2 albums in now of Tinashe, free of RCA Records, independent as a musician, and it's clearly bearing creative fruit for her, and that's awesome because I've always been a fan of hers for a long time, and you've always seen the talent, seen the uh, spurts of really amazing tracks, but now we're just getting albums worth of them now. And
Yeah,
she's really blossoming. It's awesome to see because for a while I might have been in doubt if she was truly going to make it through, and she clearly has now.
yeah, completely agree. What do you have up next for you?
Yeah, so number 7 for me is "Honey" by Halsey.
Hmm.
Halsey. What's the record called? I don't.
I am not a woman. I'm a god.
No, no, isn't it? I don't of love. I want power. That's the
Oh
album.
yeah. If I can't have love, I want power.
Yes, sorry. Halsey's rock album. Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross in the studio with Halsey, and definitely a clear directional shift after her trendy pop leaning last album, Manic. And honestly, a really impressive showing, I think, from her. It's like an honest to goodness rock record. And Honey for me is just the catchiest of these songs. It's like kind of in the spirit of like an Avril Lavigne or something, where it's like really up tempo and has a really catchy chorus. And I just like it a lot. I think overall the album not as easy to revisit because by design it's not, you know, coming with like a Halsey banger. There's no Without Me on this album, right?
Yeah.
But I think this song is probably pretty close to that because you can really re-listen to that. I think the production on this is like really choice. But overall, just an acknowledgement, I think, of Halsey, even if it wasn't her best-selling record in her career, creatively, it clearly spawned a lot of fruit from her. And like lyrically, I think she was really happy to get into her thoughts on how the media treats women, specifically like pregnant women, pregnant artists, things like that. So there's a lot of ambition with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. The album was definitely impressive. I do not like the picture that she has for this covered in honey. Just makes me feel icky and like gross. But the song is definitely a banger. So excellent choice. Moving on to my number 7. Give me one second. Uh, our guy James Blake
Ah,
with "Lost Angel Nights." "Friends That Break Your Heart," his album from this year, had some really high highs and
hmm.
some real stinkers on the album. Um, but "Lost Angel Nights" and mostly that back half of that album have really been something I've come back to a lot. "Lost Angel Nights" is just such a impressive vocal performance from James Blake. I think he is obviously a great vocalist, but "Lost Angel Nights" lets him explore his full range. It's crafted as a song that uh, really builds up throughout. Is kind of like almost like a I don't know, like a 4-step type dance song in a way, like a classical dance song, and builds up to this amazing chorus where it's layered James Blake vocals together and just really really beautiful. It's a heartbreaking song as a lot of the songs on the album are. I think his vocals really tend to give you that feeling of like sadness and heaviness. But Lost Angel Nights just a clear standout. I would also, if I could put two songs from him on here, I would have also put "If I'm Insecure," which is the last track of the album, or second to last, I think, with the bonus track, and that another song where it just really shows off his range, and his vocals just always are amazing. So, Lost Angel Nights, my number 7. What's next for you, Dave?
So number 6 for me, a bit of a deep cut here. We Straight remix, All Black featuring Vince Staples. In a sense, a sister pick to your Taylor Swift All Too Well 10-minute version, because We Straight came out in its original form in 2018, just All Black and producer Khaled. Of course, in 2021, we got the remix featuring Vince on the All Black debut album, Thank You for Fucking With Me. And I just freaking love this song because it's just some Bay ass shit. You know the Bay Area bounce when you hear it. However, All Black, I think, is really like into his storytelling on this one. And then when Vince comes in, and it's not a quick verse, he's really on this song for like half of it. When Vince comes in, he absolutely floats. I love the Vince feature. I love the Vince feature more than anything on the Vince album from this year. I think it's just a great Bay Area rap track.
Yeah, I've actually seen many people saying that We Straight and All Too Well, the 10-minute version, are like sister tracks. So that was a really inspired.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, really inspired observation. Yeah, no, this is actually I think a very inspired pick. And not even a track that came to mind for me, but definitely now I'm remembering Vince's feature on that. He goes hard. So good pick. Moving on to my number 6, I have Eve's Tumor with Jackie. We talked a lot about Eve's Tumor on our wrap up last year. It was a album that we missed, but had some real highlights. And when he dropped the asymptotical world, I definitely am not pronouncing that right, EP, I was a bit let down by it just because I didn't feel like it reached some of the highs, I guess, of Heaven to a Tortured Mind. And Jackie was the clear standout to me. And just in re-listening to it and coming back to it throughout the year, it grew on me a lot because it really like brings together, I think, a lot of what makes Eve Tumor such a exciting artist, which is that he takes like metal sounding guitars and punk drums and these super distorted vocals and just makes a catchy song out of it and blends all these genres together to make probably the best rock song of the year, like at least the most like hard rock song of the year that still is good. And he feels just like an artist that I want to follow closely because he just feels super exciting all the time. So for me, there's nothing not to like about the song, and I hope that people get into Eve Tumor because he deserves it. Number 5 for you, Dave. What's up next?
Number 5 for me is the 5th Olivia Rodrigo single, Brutal. Not the first pick for most people, not the second or third or fourth pick. Driver's License, Good For You, the big hits. Deja Vu, also a pretty big hit. Traitor on the ballady side, a big hit. But no, I'm picking track 1, my guy, Brutal. In the Good For You vein, where this is the Olivia pop punk that really, I think, grabbed a lot of people when you heard the full album. But I don't know. A part of this is I just don't want to pick Good For You because of the obvious Paramore corollary and the fact that it's just so played out at this point. But I also really like Brutal. I'm so sick of 17. Where the fuck's my teenage dream? Some good quotables on this. I can't even parallel park. And I just think like the drum line, the guitar lick when it comes in, goes pretty hard. I really enjoy this song. I had to recognize Olivia on one of the lists, and I wanted to go with this song just because I feel like it's perhaps a tad underrated as far as the Olivia singles go.
Definitely a good pick. Yeah, the album rules. So go listen to our best albums portion to hear my thoughts on that. Moving forward, my number five is Georgia Smith, Addicted.
Mm.
Georgia Smith's release this year, Be Right Back, definitely didn't live up to Lost and Found in my book, but Addicted, the first track off the album, is so smooth, just so smooth, and you feel just absolutely lost in her voice and in the production of this. Just like I don't even know if whirring is the right word, but it feels like it's propulsive in a sense, and I just would when I would come back and listen to it, I was just blown away every single time. The way that the chorus, her vocals just pull you back in and uh, just sound like aching and you know give off such a sense of desire and yearning. And Georgia Smith, an artist that I don't feel like I'm giving up on in any sense after maybe a album that was a bit disappointing, but she just feels like in that space of female R&B vocalist that feels like it's becoming a bit oversaturated. She's still someone I have a lot of faith in,
Yeah.
just crafts good music. So
Yeah, and I'd say in general, Be Right Back was an EP.
yeah,
She by
right.
design said this wasn't the follow-up album just yet, needs more time. So
Good
still
point.
holding all the Georgia stock.
What's up next for you, Dave?
Up next for me is Oxytocin by Billie Eilish. Happier Than Ever, not an album I liked too much. Just a little mellower on the production side of things, on the vocal side of things for what I was hoping for. Again, I understand lyrically why Billie would make this album given the time we're in, the time she is in as a person. However, Oxytocin was the rare, in this case, moment of true like Billie and Phineas brilliance because I think the production on this song is just some wild shit, man. It's awesome. I think it's so crazy. It's just so funny to juxtapose the production on this song with the majority of the rest of the record, which is has more in line with like the Claro album, you know?
No, absolutely. Oxytocin totally blew me away the first time I listened to it, and um, still probably the only track I've really played back from the album, other
I
than the
also really
title
like
track.
Therefore I Am, but that's technically a 2020 release, so didn't consider it here.
Great choice. I just realized I didn't have any Billy on either list, which is kind of surprising. But
She'll
next
be
up
back.
for me is a song off the Shang-Chi soundtrack. And this is Nikki Every Summertime. And
Oh yeah.
man, yeah, it does. I will say so. It does sample. What's his name? Mango Jerry's in the summertime, which is in and of itself just a pure pop fun song. But every summertime is the most feel good, upbeat, just makes you want to dance song of the year. Every person that I told to listen to this track was just like, "Holy shit, that was amazing!" And it just is fun. It's wonderful, and hearing Nikki just make this bubblegum pop song that is so ear catchy and earwormy and feel good. Just I needed a song like this in this year, and I'm just really glad she gave it to us. I know it's on your list as well. Where did it fall for you?
This fell number 3 for me every summertime. Talk about something so unexpected. When we heard that 88 Rising was like, executive producing, helming the Shang-Chi soundtrack. Okay, makes sense. They obviously, Asian connection, but like didn't have too high expectations on it. But that soundtrack had a few cuts on it. I like the Anderson Paak song, but I didn't expect like one of the best songs Nicki's ever made to be on this soundtrack. In a sense, I kind of feel for Nicki. I feel like this could have been a bigger hit for her if it was saved for one of her albums to be a single. Maybe she'll re-release it. But yeah, I mean, it just has an awesome nostalgic vibe. The piano, the drums, really silky, sensual vocals from Nicki, but she also kind of switches up how she performs it when you get into that chorus. Also, in the music video, you get young Alan Kim from Minari bopping around in the car. just a really fun throwback track. Really just kind of came out of nowhere for me.
Yeah, no, definitely a highlight of the year for me. So that was your number three. Let me let me tell you what my number three is, Dave. We've already talked about this. This is the only overlap I have on the two, and that's Adele.
Mm.
Easy on me. It's just an absolute undeniable great song. Huge hit from this year. Um, I mentioned at the top of this that I found my top three to be very popular songs, and I think I actually gave them a lot of weight for that because I think in a year when there wasn't like a clear song that I was like, oh, that's the best song of the year. The songs that had the widest impact and still I considered to be excellent got the nod. And Easy on Me in that same mold as Hello or I don't know, Rumor Has It, something like that, where just a big song. This is the only song we got like that from Adele this year, and it just is amazing. And I think it also encapsulates, as someone who is 30 himself. I know Adele is not 30 at this point; she's a little bit older, but I think it encapsulates that feeling of just like, you know, life is hard and trying to figure out like how to move forward when things don't go the way you plan them, having feeling like you had to make decisions before you could really think them out, and now having to like search for forgiveness. And I think especially in a year or, or in a time when uh we're living through a pandemic and people are really struggling in a lot of ways, Easy on Me just really resonates as like people needing forgiveness and grace and understanding. So just a timely track in terms of um, subject matter and lyrics, but also you get Adele going full throttle, full
Uh-huh.
vocals. Can't ask for much more. So my number three, Easy on Me. What's your number two?
My number two for me is a cut right here. Brent
Ooh,
Faiyaz, DJ Dahi, featuring Tyler the Creator, Gravity. Just an illustrious R&B track. I think this song is so fucking catchy. Brent really holding it down on the male R&B side, as you said, we're very saturated with female contemporaries for him, and I think his performance on this is just so magical. The beat for Dahi is awesome. The chorus, when he gets to the chorus, when he says "Don't act like I'm average," oh my god, I think his performance is so awesome. I've always been taken with Brent Faiyaz ever since his feature on the Goldlink track "Crew," when he's on the chorus, perhaps the biggest, most triumphant part of that song. And his albums have been quite popular. And I think this song, which is just a loose track, is really something. And then you factor in that, yeah, Tyler the Creator's featured on this too, rapping, you know. But honestly, my favorite part about it is really just Brent. I think he's so good on this.
no, it's definitely a great track. I'm almost kicking myself for not having it on my list. It's a great pick. Um, yeah, definitely. If you haven't heard this, go back and listen to it. It has almost 100 million plays on Spotify, so it is known. But
Yes.
um, my number two is someone that we've talked about quite a bit. You had Planet Her on your best albums of the year, and that's Doja Cat, "Kiss Me More."
Hell yes.
And
I did
yeah,
consider this.
it's just a completely undeniable song, dude. Like, uh, super sexy, um, super catchy. You don't even need SZA, but you just kind of get SZA like dropping in for like 20 seconds, then providing some backup vocals. And if anything, it just is like Doja Cat proving that she is a pop queen and is going to be around forever and making music like this. And I love it. It's a song that every time it comes on, when it gets to that part where she's um like I want to be fucking something, or but she like screams it in the background, I'm just like,
Yes.
fuck yeah. Like this is exactly why we
Sugar
listen to
honey,
music.
no, motherfucker,
Yeah.
whatever it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing stuff. So my number two, Doja Cat. And also this song is just like maybe the most popular song of the year if you take into account like TikTok and everything. It's up
Yeah.
there
Top five, I think. Yeah.
for sure. All right, our number ones, what do you got?
Number one for me, Hurricane, Kanye West, The Weekend,
Wow.
Lil Baby.
And you had this album as a disappointment, but as your
Sure.
number one song is off it. Interesting.
That's correct. This is Kanye ass shit in a good way. Kanye bringing in guests to match what he's doing, right? The Weeknd, really illustrious chorus. When you bring in that background chorus over The Weeknd, overdubbing, don't let me down, just triumphant shit, man. First verse, Little Baby, at his most lyrical, his most competent yet. Little Baby really continues to impress because he continues to get better. I had written him off in 2017, didn't think he was that special. He is a different rapper. He's a better rapper now. And I think the Baby verse is great. And then Kanye comes in. It's this really catchy, fun verse from Ye. And I think one of the best verses on Donda, where he's very much up and down. And while again, Donda suffers from bloat, which again is a new problem for Kanye when he's in album mode, unfortunately. But Hurricane, which did get recognized at the Grammys, Hurricane, I just think is just a real moment of true throwback, Kanye the MC, Kanye the arranger, Kanye the curator of talent. It's kind of all the trademarks that we associate with the old Kanye kind of rearing up on Donda. Clearly the highlight of the album for me.
Hurricane was a song that I had at my number 10. And I just pushed it off for some other tracks I want to put on here, but it's a great choice. I think the clear standout, although there's a couple of songs off Donda that I really love. My number one, an artist who is just taking over the world as well, Lil Nas X, Industry Baby. Dave, I want to actually bring in a quote that you said from our review of Montero to explain why this is my number one. This feels like the next "We Will Rock You" or "We Are the Champions." You talked about this song as being basically a song that is going to have an enormous impact for decades to come. And I totally agree, because
Did I really say that?
You said something along those lines. This was gonna be the next Queen hit. I remember being like, whoa, but it actually stuck with me because not only is it that catchy, where it's this anthem moving type sound. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, take a day trip, spazzing on the beat.
Exactly. But you also just have these super triumphant lyrics. It feels like this kind of thing that you're going to hear at every college football game, every college basketball game for the next 10, 15 years. It's just made to stick around. And I think it's the best track off Montero. I think it's the catchiest one. And Lil Nas X he's already a huge star, and he's just going to keep growing. So wanted to give him some love here.
Yeah. Shout out Jack Harlow featured on that too. I liked his performance on that more than most of the songs he had on the debut album from last December, to be honest. But I think Jack is a nice compliment to Lil Nas X, and they seem to have a genuine friendship, which is nice to see. And well, I didn't like Montero overall. Thought it was a little underwhelming. Industry Baby is a great example of Lil Nas X doing what he does best, where he is pop rap. That is what he should be doing. Don't sing too much. You're not really a rapper. But this is that shit, especially with immaculate production, like what you have from Take a Day Trip on this. Yeah, it's a banger.
Absolutely. Dave, recap your 10 through 1. I'll do mine, then we'll do honorable mention.
Yeah, so 10 for me, Breadwinner, Kacey Musgraves. 9, Look at the Sky, Porter Robinson. 8, 7 a.m. on Bridal Path, Drake. 7, Honey, Halsey. 6, We Straight Remix, All Black featuring Vince Staples. 5, Brutal, Olivia Rodrigo. 4, Oxytocin, Billie Eilish. 3, Every Summertime, Nicki. 2, Gravity, Brent Faiyaz and DJ Dahi featuring Tyler the Creator. And 1, Hurricane, Kanye West featuring The Weeknd and Lil Baby.
10, Taylor Swift, All Too Well 10-minute version, Taylor's version from the vault. That's the literal title of it. Crazy. 9, Betty the Butcher, Flood the Block. 8, Tinashe, Bouncin'. 7, James Blake, Lost Angel Nights. 6, Eve's Tumor, Jackie, Georgia Smith, Addicted, number 5. 4, Nicki, Every Summertime. 3, Adele, Easy on Me. 2, Doja Cat, Kiss Me More. And 1, Lil Nas X, Industry Baby. All right, Dave, what just missed your list?
Yeah, so Industry Baby was a honorable mention for me as well. I like to shout out, I mentioned this before, I want to shout out the Olivia Rodrigo, Good For You, and Paramore,
mashup.
Misery Business matchup on YouTube and Spotify, etc. Really tremendous stuff there. I want to shout out Bellator from Skepta, Neo from Amine, Back in Blood by Pooh Shiesty and Dirk, Up by Cardi, just all tremendous bangers. Want to shout out Fabio Foreign's verse off the Grid, off Donda, AP off the Boogie soundtrack from Pop Smoke, probably the last great Pop Smoke song, if we're being honest. Can I Get It, my favorite Adele track. We mentioned I had her album on my list. Also want to shout out 2 songs in particular, Bad Man by Polo G and For the Gang by 42 Doug and Roddy Ricch. Both are songs sampling classics. Polo G sampling Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal, Doug and Roddy sampling Scorpions, No One Like You. Love seeing the rap with the old school famous sample like that. And also, I have to say, Ed Sheeran's 2-step I enjoy a lot more than I should.
I did not think you were going to be wrapping that up with an Ed Sheeran.
Let me not. I also forgot the two BTS tracks this year, Butter and Permission to Dance. I like both of those quite a bit. They're really fun, really catchy. In that Dynamite mold, not as as ambitious as some stuff on Map of the Soul 7, but still for the holdover year, for the off album year for BTS, pretty impressive to see what they accomplished this year.
Yeah, Butter actually was on my list until the very last second as well. Working for the Knife by Mitski was up there for me. Good Ones by Charlie XCX I thought would for sure be on your list. Surprised it wasn't.
Well, we got the album coming up soon, so
yeah,
stay tuned.
Plenty of Charlie next year. I had Family Ties by Baby Keem up there, featuring Kendrick Lamar. Making a Fire, the Mark Ronson remix of it by the Foo Fighters. Just really good and so much better than the original song, which is just amazing. California by 88 Rising stood out to me.
Jackson Wang.
Trulo by Parquet Courts also was up there. The funniest song of the year, Marinate by Zach Fox. Go listen to that. That shit's hilarious, dude. So fucking funny.
He's hilarious.
Charmander by Amine.
Yes.
Just missed my list. And that might have been I had one more. Thoughts Prayer by JPEG Mafia, which interpolates Britney Spears. Another great music moment of the year. So shout out music, dude. It's great, huh?
Shout out music.
Good stuff. Nowstalgia Best of 2021 on Spotify. Nowstalgia at NowstalgiaPod on Twitter. YouTube.com/NowstalgiaPod and SoundCloud.com/NowstalgiaPod. We'll be back with our TV and movie end of year podcast in the future. Stay tuned for that, as well as I think we have 1 or 2 more pods for the year. So
we do
regular pods. We'll get
2
to
more.
those. But we'll see you all in 2022.